OVSKY. Let's try and add him in. Oh, I can't
Hey,
type. Yo, bro, you good?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Congratulations on the release.
I I
Big,
should
big,
I
big.
I need the confetti cannon right now.
That's what you need. Yes, bro, you good?
Hey guys.
Good to have you guys on, man. I was just saying to Mo then, congrats on the release. You boys absolutely smashed it. Heavy on the melodies, man. It's so melodic. So good for the soul. Good for the
That's
soul.
him.
All
That's
that.
him.
Okay, okay. Let's not waste around. Let's get straight into the track, discussing it. Yeah. If you guys haven't, tracks just dropped now, live on the NCS channel as well as on your streaming platforms. Go and check all that out. Make sure you check these guys' socials as well. Whack them a follow. Show some love. Show some love. But let's get into the track. All right, OVSKY. Off the bat, I'm going to come to you with that infectious melody, man. Tell us all about how that came about.
Okay, do you hear me well?
We can hear you, yeah. By the way, if there's any background noise, I'm in the NCS offices, so let me know and I'll just hit mute. You boys can let me know.
No, it's fine, it's fine.
All right.
All right, so I guess the inspiration truly came from, I had this chaotic period where I traveled a lot and I know I tried to find my place, and when I came back finally home, I don't know, something popped in my head and I just recorded it, singing to my phone. And then I came to my studio and tried to recreate it. And yeah, I guess that's it.
Amazing. That's the best way to be. You got to be in that right state of mind. By the way, if you guys have got any questions for Mo Falk OVSKY, hit him in the chat. Josh has said he's heard home and looks like he's liking it from those emojis. Mo, coming to you. So going through your Instagram and like the amount of creativity you've got when it comes to like flipping something, or you know just the pure content creation, approaching something like home. What did you do to add the Mo Falk flip to it? Let's say.
It's actually crazy because it used to have only 2 drops. Like it was just the first drop repeated, and I heard it on my stream when he sent it to me, and I was like, oh my god, how sick would this be if it had a future bass part? So basically, like I got the project almost how it was now, and then I was like, okay, let me add a future bass part. Okay, now let me fix this, let me fix that, let me change the bass. So like it kind of evolved, but because the melody was so like it was there, like I didn't change one thing about the melody. So like it was more of like the technical parts behind the scenes, and that future bass part. And then as like in the second part, there's like a super crazy crisp vocoder. It's like, okay, what do we need after this? We need something to take the energy out again. And it's like, okay, vocoder stuff like this. Yeah, so that like
Awesome.
to me, I had that melody and it's like, okay, I need to do something with it.
Sick. I mean, Deli's just said in the chat that the future bass part is a bit that he loves. So obviously something that people are resonating with. Let's talk about you mentioned that you on the stream, and that's the sort of the connection there where you jumped in. But were you two talking before? How did the collaboration come to be? We'll go to you, Mo, for this. Yeah.
I don't think we were talking much before. So I've been streaming for quite a while now on Twitch and stuff.
Yeah.
And OVSKY was like starting to be a part of it. Like when he sent a demo, like there's like hundreds of people that send demos, but there's always like a handful of people who are like, okay, this is going to be good because we've heard like 10 tracks before and they were always insane. And he was one of those guys who were like always sent out of this world stuff and like, and then over time, obviously you get like a little bit closer, like you get interested, like, okay, who's this guy actually? Like, where is he from? And then sometimes in chats, like, oh, I'm from there and there, and I'm this and this old. And then you kind of try to piece together this like puzzle of like who the person is that is like behind the username. And eventually he started like releasing music as well on like Hexagon and stuff where I also came from originally. And yeah, just over time, I think. And then once he sent that track in, I think then is when we really started bonding, I would say. And now sometimes we just go together on Rocket League and talk for hours. And like we did that like a few days ago, and it's the best shit.
Awesome. Sick.
All the marketing and everything while playing Rocket League. So that's our thing.
Yeah,
okay, well let's go to you then for OVSKY. We've had Macrax has asked in the chat which DAW do you use? Just a quick one.
Well, wait, could you repeat, please?
Yeah, sure. He's asking which DAW do you use?
I use FL Studio.
Okay, cool.
Die-hard fan of FL Studio from the beginning.
I didn't even know that.
Sick.
I thought you were like a Logic
use,
person or something.
No,
I'm also I'm also a big time FL Studio person.
Oh, sick.
Have always been. But I'm currently, I have Ableton right there next to my FL, and I'm trying to change. And every time I have a little bit of free time, I'm like, okay, I will go back into Ableton and learn a little bit. But like after spending 1, 2 hours, every time I just go back to FL because I know how it works. And it's like, I can't be bothered.
Awesome. OVSKY, coming back to you. So when it comes to starting out a track, getting a project down, not necessarily this one, but anyone that you're looking at, have you got a go-to process for how you actually begin a record, or is it just whatever you're feeling in the time?
Yeah, always. I always put like an init preset in my massive, and I always go for chords. Like everything begins with chords.
Okay.
Basic, and if I've got the right chords, then I can work on melodies, on everything. It gives
Awesome.
like the soul to the track.
Sick. Yeah, I think it's good to have that bass. For you, Mo, Wooly has just asked in the chat. First of all, he says that both of these guys are awesome sound designers. Any tips for perfecting that sound design?
Oh, sound design.
Good question.
Honestly, I think there's like two stages. For me, there's been two stages. The first stage is where you have like no freaking idea. So you need to learn the basics, right? And for that, I think it's actually really nice to have either a mentor or like a course or something like that, where you just learn the technicality of the plugin that you're trying to use. For me, with Serum, I do everything with Serum. And then the second stage is like, okay, now I know how it works technically. What can I do that other people don't do with that? And that is like really experimental. And it feels like the more time you spend just doing it, the more happy accidents you're gonna have, and the more like differentiated from all the other people you're gonna get just by doing the ways you do it, like with your workflow and stuff like that. So that would be my recommendation. Like if you don't know the basics, learn the basics, and if you know the basics, just spend time in Serum or whatever synthesizer you're learning, and just use it. Like use it for everything. Try to make a kick, try to make a snare, try to make a vocal if you want with the Serum, because technically it's possible. It's just how advanced you want to get.
Practice makes perfect, right? Exactly.
Yeah, I think so.
OVSKY, what about for you? Yeah, talking about the sound design and getting your uniqueness, really adding that color to it. What's your approach there?
It's I agree with Mo 100%. Like you have to get those basics, and then you can start like experimenting. For me, it's trying to combine like things I've never heard before. Like for example, some live instrument, like some Oriental one, or like something that you don't hear in EDM or in music frequently. Add it to your like synthesizer or whatever, and just try to make something like unique. Don't go for the easy path. Try to make something.
Yeah, that's always a thing that I get when I'm talking to artists, and I think it's about like, I think there's obviously the community is so massive, and with like producers like yourselves and collaborating with people on a similar level to you, like you can draw that knowledge from so many different places, but cracking into your unique sound and making that thing that sets you apart is definitely a really key thing.
Yeah.
I want to sort of rewind the clocks before you were putting out any tracks, before you yourself, Mo, was streaming, before OVSKY you were hopping on, before Home came to be, your introduction to music. OVSKY, coming to you first, where did you first realize that this was something that you wanted to chase?
I first started because my friends told me that that we could be like the next David Guetta or next Martin Garrix.
That's what you need though, man. Look what it's done.
Yeah, right. But like I started, and I thought it's gonna be it can be hard, right? So we just started and we messed around, and they were like, okay, this is boring. And when I first laid down my first melody, I was like, okay, this is something I've never felt before. I'm so hooked. I need to do more. So it was like some magical feeling inside that I can just express myself doing this.
Awesome. And then for you, Mo, like now in this realm that you're in now, like you're really strong with, like I said, the streaming, and the gram, like the branding, everything's right there.
Yeah.
Was this an intentional thing that you shifted into? And going from the start of music, how did you end up on this path? What was that story there?
Oh, jeez, I have no idea. So obviously it's very intentional, and it's like very shuffled together. Like I always knew, I was gonna do something with music. My entire family is very, very musical. So like my dad's in an orchestra. My mom used to be in an orchestra. All my dad's family are like musicians, and like it's very musical. So for me, it was okay. You need to learn an acoustic instrument. So I played like a variety of different, I think I played like 5 or 6 different instruments, but it was always like, okay, you will never be as great as your grandparents because they were like, you know. And then I was like, okay, what can I do to be like really annoying to those people? And like first it was the move away from classical music to like jazz and like drums. So I played like a lot of drums and I played rock, and they were like, oh, why do you do this? And eventually that just like I one up that by like, okay, I'm gonna make electronic music. And actually it's very similar to Ovsky. I had a friend in high school who was a big Kashmir fan back then,
Oh,
and like it was the beginning of spinning records and stuff like that, and we were like the same thing, like yeah, we can write melodies, like we have the Vengeance Pack 1, how can we, like it's not that far off. And then we would go to parties and play our own songs that were like in hindsight
Yeah.
insanely terrible, but we were big time vibing. We're like, yeah, we're gonna be the next, XYZ artist. And I just eventually like went to uni and studied all of that, and just like I made a plan in the beginning how I want things to be, and like that plan when I look back is like, how the hell did I think anything would happen that way?
Mm.
But like over time I just like took this, okay, my branding can look like this, now I'm streaming, let me take this, and then I incorporated everything. And over time, I like, now it's going to be interesting, like in 5 years, what else, kind of things I will have like jumbled up and switched out. And I think it's always like constantly in movement and stuff, which I
Mm.
really like.
Amazing. Um, yeah, well, again, congratulations on the track. We've got a comment from Logan in the comments below. And other than home, of course, what's your guys' favorite song that you've ever made? Ovsky, to you first. That's a really tough question. Maybe there's a sentimental one that it always tends to be for when I'm asking artists these kind of questions. Is that it's the one that either kickstarted their career or one that they hold sentimental because of the time it
yeah.
was made. But could you pinpoint one that's your favorite?
Yes, it was On My Mind, and it was released in April. It like started this sound that I have now.
Mm.
And I remember it was a very special moment because I just don't know what I did back then. Like it was pretty random, but like it kickstarted my whole career to this point. So
Awesome.
I think On My Mind is my
Amazing.
favorite.
Sick. If you guys have got any questions, by the way, and you want them read out, please just put them in the comments, and I'll pick them as I go through. But coming to you, Mo, favorite tune?
Favorite tune, by far, it's like I made a track called You're Wild, and at the time, yeah, same thing. It's my breakthrough track kind of thing,
Mm.
and it has vocals. Like it doesn't really have vocals. It has gibberish. Like it's like you're wild, we do wadu, we do wadu. Like it doesn't mean anything. But then the label was like, hey, we need the lyrics for this. So I was like, are you kidding? And like in a moment of weakness, I sent them lyrics. I sent them actual lyrics that were gibberish. Like they were just transcribing nothing. And
Amazing.
they made like we decided after, they're like, oh, that's a good idea, let's make a lyric video out of that, so that we have a lyric video,
Oh,
but the lyrics are gibberish, like they don't mean anything. And like we did a whole thing about it, and it blew up. Like, at the time for me that was really big. Like now it wouldn't be that big a thing, but still until now there's like memes and ongoing lore from that track that
mm-mm.
still carries through most tracks. And like the entire community is like, oh, we need another track like this, or did you notice that little thing? And it all comes from that one track. It even is like a small kind of religion thing for people. Like it's a joke, but they take it
Yeah, yeah.
very seriously,
Yeah,
which
I
is
think there's
cool.
I've noticed that in my short time, like properly delving into this community and getting to know people and talking to fans, etc. That there's some things that like those guys just they know more than we do, and that they're so committed to
Yeah,
following the narrative. And it's really good when you accidentally stumble upon something like this, and then it creates I guess content for yourself, which is awesome.
yeah.
Zaber DJ said, Oh, actually, they said not an actual question, but can you say hello to me? Yes, I can. There you go. Hello.
Saber.
DTD musician has asked a really good question. How do you deal with creative blocks? So I imagine, especially for you guys, like adding that color to tracks and being so sort of like nitpicky with those fine details. Like I can imagine there's moments where okay, I need to get out of the room. Moments where I can't force this. How do you deal with those times? OVSKY, to you first.
Okay, so basically, my main thing is that I do 2 other music projects that are nowhere near EDM. So my like take on creative block is just do different kinds of music. Just don't close yourself into this one EDM or house or whatever. Just try to experiment, because I get like the creative block like every week probably, and I just have to deal with it somehow. So I just try to make things that I haven't done before, and it works. Like for me, it works.
Awesome.
Nice.
And then for you, Mo, is there at those times, you know, you're looking at the screen, you've seen the drum stems, and you've been chopping and changing, you can't get the snare, you can't get the hat, all of this. How do you deal with those moments?
It's the worst. Like, thankfully now it's getting less and less, and I just have like a very like set in stone ritual that I do, and I get out of that. But yeah, I don't have a way at all. Usually what I do is I just stop making music for a week completely, and then eventually I'll see a tutorial or something on YouTube about the new sound, and it's gonna like spark something. But unfortunately I'm not there yet. I don't have the cure. For me, sometimes when I get it, it's just okay, I guess we're not music now. So I'll just work on like designing something or like updating the stream. Actually, that's something I do when I don't know what to do. I just, add more functionality, more little details that nobody notices apart from me. But yeah, I just stopped making music until it's back.
Yeah, I think that the major thing whenever that question gets asked and talked to artists is, and I think this is probably a true say for anything creative or anything where you're sort of working yourself to make something that you love. You can never force any creativity. It's just naturally the best things come from a place when you're feeling the best. You know what I mean? And not trying to get out of a hole. It's so take your time if you're producing. Again, questions in the chat for the guys. We'll do another quick update now of what we're doing. We're chatting to MoFork and OVSKY about the new track Home, which is out now on NCS. You can find it on the main NCS channel as well as streaming services. I have to say, we're still at the 80 viewers mark. We've been jumping around like between 180 for about, we did this at 5, like 20 minutes now, which for something like this, it's really, really mad. Tolef, congratulations, by the way. Tolef and Jack Shaw released Dreaming of Me track a few days back. Again, you can check that one out on the channel and streaming services. But OVSKY, he's got a question for you. He's asked, how do you make your insane, all caps, plucky sounds?
This is okay. I have to say, because we have some special content coming, and it's made by this guy besides me, and he tried to recreate the lead, and he actually did a great job. So watch out for this. But just to give some answer right now, it's a mixture of synths. Usually I use silent one. I use some real life instruments like kalimba, marimba, or this, some plucky instruments that you don't really hear usually. And also I just put a lot of delay.
There's the secret sauce right there. Tolef's next tune that he sends in is going to have a load of plucks in it already. We know this. Okay, so we've got a question from photography, mate. Oh, it's a lovely name. We'll come to you, Mo, and this actually sort of ties into, again, you just touched on it, OVSKY. There's a few things coming, so make sure you guys are checking out the NCS Arcade YouTube channel. We've got a few different bits that are coming in the coming weeks, so be sure to keep your eyes there. And the question about that was, did you make the lead by recording home things? Which is that's a...
It's two things. I did two things. So once I actually really tried to recreate his lead, because to me it's like, okay, like I can kind of tell what sounds he's using. Like, yeah, I can tell it's a kalimba, and like I can tell it's a pluck, and I can almost know how he does it, and I can almost know how the delay works, but I've never really tried to do it myself because I had like, why, you know? So I sat down and I recorded myself really trying hard to get it, and like, yeah, it's kind of close, but I didn't really come close. And then I have another idea, like another completely separate video where I remade the entire track. I remade the drop just from, yeah, like household objects. So I took like a plant pot, like this one here. I have it right here still. And I just went like, you know, and then I recorded all of those sounds, and I made a track out of it. And I tried to make it close to home, but it didn't really work. It's kind of difficult because I didn't really have anything that had like a clear tonality. So everything's really dissonant. It's like, all the chords sound out of key, and I tried.
Oh man, but yeah, it's worth mentioning to again to check out Arcade in the coming weeks, because you'll see some bits about without giving too much away behind the track and then all that kind of good stuff. Again, just a quick little update of what we're doing, because we're still floating. We're at 76 now, but there's people constantly joining, man. This is really cool to see. Chatting to OVSKY
community.
It is, man. That's the power of them. OVSKY and MoFork about the new release Home out on NCS right now. Shy Lime Official, another really cool name. What's the best mastering advice you can give? Ooh, good question. OVSKY, to you first.
Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. I can't master. I mean, I can a bit, but it's nowhere near like professional mastering. I just have my limiter, my OTT, just a little bit, and some, you know, EQing, and that's it. But I know Mo is way better at this, so.
The baton's been passed, Mo. What's your answer?
Yeah, so with mastering, I think it's the same as with sound design. There's two parts. One is obviously knowing that what the hell you're doing. So like you should know, like, okay, mastering plugins, you know, like Maximizer, what does it do? Why do you use it? Why does EQ have to have like that sort of position? And I actually, if you want to know more, yeah, don't tell anyone. I have like a big mastering tutorial on my YouTube, just and I think the other part that I think a lot of people underestimate is just listen to the track like on loop in as many like environments as you can. So like headphones at home sound very different than headphones in the city where you have the noise happening, and like car speakers in the garage sound different than car speakers, you know, normal car speakers, and like Skoda might sound different than like BMW, or like I literally have like 5-6 sound systems at home that are very bad, but I still play the song on them, even though I know, you know, quality is going to be pretty bad, just so that I can like get a feel for, okay, is it going to sound good in any kind of environment? And, you know, if you have a good ear and you can kind of tell what's happening, I think that's really, really key. And obviously, I think there's a lot of like gear stuff as well. Like if you have really good equipment, like that's why mastering studios are really high fidelity as well. Because in the end, you know, it's like the little 2% that nobody really notices except for like the really professional people, and they really appreciate that. Like, you know, added. I don't know. I think mastering, it's a little bit elusive as well, because you can, like, yeah, it needs to be loud, it needs to be wide, like, it needs to sound good, but then it doesn't have to be perfectly technically amazing. Like, that only really has to be if you're making, like, drum and bass or dubstep.
Yeah, of course.
But for house, there's so much room. Like, it doesn't matter if the kick is that loud, or like soft or hard. It's just house.
I think the point about like listening in different environments is, like you say, it's something that people really wouldn't think of. Like even from like being in the world and knowing about the somewhat limited knowledge that I have in the processes on that side. But I think that a lot of people would be like, yeah, I've got to listen in these heads, I've got to listen from these speakers, I've got to make sure I listen in these Apple earphones, try the AirPods. But you wouldn't necessarily think, what does an AirPod sound like inside compared to outside? That's a really, really good point.
Yeah. Like what I actually did for home, I remember I took a train. Like I didn't have to go anywhere. I just went in the metro in my local city, and just went to the next city just to try out 2 headphones. Like I have Beats and I have these like earpods, and I just listened because you get all the rumble. And actually I realized that the kick doesn't work in the tram. For some reason,
the more
like,
you know,
right? So I changed it like a bit, and then I was like, yeah, it's probably fine. But like, it's so random. But yeah, I think like the environment is really important. Even
Sick.
like, yeah, like you said.
Amazing. All right, we'll get one more question in, and then we'll wrap things up. So this is a really good one to ask as a final question. Ilva's Music has asked, how did the collab start? We did that. We spoke about that. And then how did it end up on NCS? So let's tweak that a little bit. Your guys' connection to getting the track out with us and that story. How did that all happen? OVSKY, we'll come to you first.
Well, I honestly think NCS was like a goal for both of us, and we never had a chance to like release there. So I think it was like a natural choice just to go for NCS for both of us. And like this sound, I think we both like brainstormed and thought like what labels could it fit. And NCS was just, I don't know, perfect. And I'm glad you guys took it because, I don't know, we love you. So.
Oh, we love you guys too, man. So it's debut for both of you, right, on NCS? Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think in my time here, that's the first double like duo that we've had in terms of like debuting together. So man, yeah, we're as much as it's a blessing for you guys. We are eternally blessed to have you guys releasing with us. And Mo, for you, your sort of NCS journey, where did you hear about us, and how does it feel to be finally releasing with us?
I mean, I've been a gamer my entire life.
Okay, there we go then.
You know, because of that, obviously always been like listening to NCS stuff. Not very like actively, so I never really knew who the artists were. That only came like recently, like last few years. But like even like I don't know, like 5, 6, 7 years ago when I was playing Counter-Strike in my like apartment, I just like I was always listening to stuff, and because of that, obviously, like it was a big thing. And then for some reason, I totally forgot about it. Like I never, like for my first 2, 3 years of like making music, like officially, like an out there Falk project, I never really thought about like Monster Cat, NCS, all of these like more like gaming focused thing. And I just were like on the full like house, like spinning records, like, you know, like musical freedom stand, like that kind of like corner. And then like with this type of music that I'm doing now, a little bit more like more colorful, more playful, like more gaming oriented. I was like, yeah, why not? Like that is so much more logical than like going for like the disco and like club scene. This kind of thing works much better for like streaming and stuff like that. So we like it makes sense to have like a streaming label and like, you know. So I think for me, always been a fan, and now, you know, I felt like this was the track to finally make the contact, and luckily you guys took it and you liked it as much as we did. So perfection.
Of course, it really was perfect. Yeah, and like I said, we are so blessed to have you guys releasing with us. I've just put in the comments now, if you guys want to submit any of your tracks, I saw some things in the comments then whilst Mo was talking about where do I send things to, etc. I've just added Label Radar. You probably can't click that link. I don't think you can on the live. So just search for Label Radar after. And that's where you want to be going through if you submitted any of your demos. And yeah, our A&R team, etc. There's a lot of songs to get through, but they will listen to everything in due course. But like I said, Home is out now, and that's what we're here. That's what we're here talking about, celebrating. If you guys haven't already, you can check the track out. There's a link in bio right now, so make sure you go straight to that and go and check it. YouTube upload is out now. Go and look at the visualizer. Yes, this is great. Run it up, run it up. And it's been an absolute pleasure, Mo and OVSKY, to chat to you both.
Thank
Same
you so
here.
much.
Pleasure is all mine.
Thank you so much. Yeah, keep your eyes on Arcade for a bit more content. Check these guys' socials out as well. And of course, go and stream Home. We'll see you next time. And let us know if you want to see more of these lives, of course. Peace, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.
Bye.